Hi, I'm Amanda Morgan, and this is Not Just Cute, the podcast, where we discuss all kinds of topics to help bridge the gap that exists between what we know and what we do in early childhood education. We're starting conversations with academics, authors, decision makers, educators, and parents so that together we can improve the quality of early childhood education while at the same time protecting and respecting the childhood experience. Today's episode is a second read, revisiting a post from almost 10 years ago titled, "There's Good in the World, and It's Worth Fighting For." Though it's almost a decade old, I still get a fair number of emails saying that it was exactly what a person needed to read that day. So I'm wrapping up 2025 by bringing it back today, even though it was hard for me to write without tearing up, and it's even harder for me to read it out loud without crying. In fact, this episode took many takes and edits because, well, I'm a little bit of a crier. But I did manage to eventually hold it together, and I'm sharing it today for a few reasons. One, it might be exactly what you needed to hear today. Two, it's something that I often need to be reminded of as well. There's also a third reason that I'll share a little bit later. Think of it as an epilogue that you can catch at the end. You can find this episode's show notes, which are always full of links, tidbits, and resources at notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 82. Before we jump in, I want to let you know that Powerful Play Foundations is open and it has some exciting bonuses for the new year. Powerful Play Foundations is an online professional development resource that will help you better understand, practice, and advocate for powerful intentional play in your learning environment. One of my main intentions was to create a quality professional development resource that would be valuable and accessible for even small programs and teams. Feedback has been spectacular, with groups saying that it's not only instilled more confidence and cohesion in their team, but it's transforming the way they approach early education altogether. Learn more and get your team started at notjustcute.com/powerful play. If you need a boost today, a reminder that your work matters, this episode is for you. Let's jump in. There is good in the world, and it's worth fighting for. From June 17th, 2016. I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. I'll be honest right there. It's dark and stressful, and that's just not my idea of a great time. But since the trilogy's release dates coincided with my birthday weekend for 3 years, I had the pleasure of consistently going to one of my husband's favorite movies for my birthday. It's okay. He happily sits through Pride and Prejudice and the like with me. A funny thing happened every time I went to one of those Hobbit, Wizard, Orc extravaganzas. I went in with a, "this one's for you, buddy," kind of an attitude, but I always left saying, "that was actually quite good." Clearly, the epic tale has become both a literary and cinematic masterpiece. I've been thinking back lately on my experience with LOTR, that's what the cool kids call it. There's one dialogue exchange that I keep coming back to over and over recently. The conversation is between two of the main characters, hobbits Frodo and Sam, at the climax of their perilous journey, and it goes like this. Frodo: "I can't do this, Sam." Sam: "I know, it's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here. But we are. It's like in those great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were, and sometimes you didn't want to know the end. Because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer." Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't, because they were holding on to something. Frodo: What are we holding on to, Sam? Sam, that there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. I read that dialogue most recently as shared by the actor who played Sam, Sean Astin. He shared it on Sunday, June 12th, 2016. I needed to read those words that day. There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. As someone who processes things by writing, it's tempting to write about every tragedy, every injustice, every dissonant political argument. I remind myself that I can't write about each one here, that it would get in the way of my objective, intentional whole child development. But as a verbal processor, a lot of my writer brain has been snarled in disturbing current events lately. So much turmoil and heartbreaking tragedy in such a short amount of time. It's hard for me to feel like I can write anything else at times like this. As passionately as I feel about topics like developmentally appropriate practice or emergent literacy or positive guidance, it feels hollow to write about any of that in the context of unimaginable suffering, suffering that I realize goes on every day, but which seems to have gripped so many so deeply and so violently recently. Sometimes the shadow seems to fall over all of us at once. But I keep reminding myself of that quote, that hope can shine brighter, that there's some good in this world and it's worth fighting for. Fighting can take on many forms: a struggle, a life's work, a monumental effort. And how do we fight for the good that is in this world? I sincerely believe that the best place to start is with our children. It's the people who come here, teachers and parents, who fight for the good in this world every single day. It's impossible to work with children and not believe in a bright future. That's why it's said that teaching is the greatest act of optimism. Hope and optimism are the fuel for that work. It's an investment in tomorrow, believing in the capacity of these children and that the light they shine can be so, so bright. We don't fight by destroying. We fight for the good in the world by creating the good in the world. We teach. As parents and as teachers, we fight for good by teaching our children. We teach them how to consider an opinion that is different from their own without adopting it and without condemning it, to simply see a new perspective. We teach them to hold to their beliefs and to show others the civility that allows them to do the same. We teach them to respect others and to take responsibility for their actions. We teach them to see beyond themselves and beyond today. We teach them they are loved, so they know how to give love. We show them the good in this world, and we teach them to be the good in this world, because it's worth fighting for. When I feel overwhelmed by big, scary things in this world, I first follow the advice of Mr. Rogers and his mom and look for the helpers, the first responders, the bystanders that selflessly help into the hero role, the volunteers. There are always so many inspiring helpers. And second, I remind myself that when the world feels out of control, that even in the face of those big, scary things, often the most powerful action I can take lies in my simple work with little people. That having a positive impact on just one person creates a ripple that can be felt throughout the world and over generations. Gandalf, the wise wizard in the trilogy, explained it this way: some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check, but that is not what I have found. It is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. I believe that. Your story is one that really matters every single day. In the minutiae of the day-to-day work, please see that you are in a story that really, really matters. Whether it's around the dinner table or on the rugged circle time, you are doing an amazing, powerful work. You are fighting for the good in the world. Thank you for shining your light and igniting the little lights all around you. Thank you for holding on to the belief that there is good in the world and that it's worth fighting for. Let's hold on to one another and keep fighting together. As I said earlier, there's a third reason why I chose to share this second read. Even though it's hard for me to read it out loud without choking up, it's also the reason it's so hard for me to read it without crying. And that is that the perspective of looking back after 10 years has made me believe in this message and the need for this message even more. In the past few years and months, I've watched some of my own children who were, in fact, still actual children when I wrote the original piece, but who are now teenagers and young adults. I've watched them walk into the world on their own, carrying that goodness that was instilled in them by not just me and my husband, but by many adults who recognized they were part of a story that really mattered. I can tell you with confidence and with profound gratitude that there is good in the world because I watched my boys carry it with them when they walked out on their own and into that world. And it's not just my own children. I recently ran into one of my former preschool students, now getting ready to graduate from high school. And when I asked what she was planning to study, she looked at me excitedly and said she wanted to study early childhood education, maybe teach preschool. And while I like to think that some of those roots reach all the way back to our preschool years together, I know that they also extend to the high school child development teacher she has right now and to the amazing parents who love her so fiercely and to countless others who cheer her on. There is so much good in the world, and we all have the chance to be a part of it if we choose it. We can build it into our lives and into the lives of the children we love and teach. It's the work of building the future we want to see. And that work truly matters. Thanks again for listening to Not Just Cute, the podcast. You can find show notes at notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 82. There, you'll find links to the original post, the movie clip I referenced, my book, and other tidbits I know you'll love. You can also hit up the show notes for a link to Powerful Play Foundations, which could transform your team and your practice in this new year. I'm Amanda Morgan. You can read more on my blog and sign up for the Not Just Cute newsletter at notjustcute.com. You can also stay tuned for social media updates on Instagram by following me at Amanda_NotJustCute. Thanks for listening today, and as always, thank you for standing up for children and for childhood.